Professor Michael Clarke. Let's talk about the latest on the overall situation in Ukraine, if we can first, Michael.
Yes, I mean, as in all wars, there's a lot happening, but sometimes it doesn't appear to be moving much on the ground. So there's an operational pause going on in the Donbass, which is where our focus is mainly. The Russians took Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. They are moving towards Sloviansk, but they won't get there for a little while because they're preparing that battle. And at the moment, the attention is on this, the main highway, the E40, one of the great European highways, runs from Calais to Kazakhstan. And the part of it that runs through Ukraine goes from Kharkiv to Sloviansk to Luhansk. And so that highway is a very important strategic artery that both sides are now competing over. That will dominate, really, the battle for Sloviansk that will start quite soon. Most of the attention, of course, is a bit further southwest now, where there is some real change, I think.
OK, well, let's take our viewers there then and look at the city of Kherson. What's happening there and, of course, the surrounding areas?
Yeah, well, the Ukrainians began this big offensive 3 weeks ago now, and they're moving to the northwest of Kherson, and they're trying to move in on Kherson city. They expect to be able to produce a strategic gain there, a big strategic gain, sometime soon. We'll see if they can. It's a tough one, but the next couple of weeks, I think, will be important. Meanwhile, at Nova Kakhovka, which is the dam, it's where the dam is that feeds the water into Crimea, big place. There's a huge explosion that you mentioned, massive artillery explosion, the biggest that we've seen so far. The Ukrainians targeted the ammunition depot at Nova Kakhovka, which is at the end of a rail junction on one of the bridges over the Dnieper River. And it was huge. And that particular explosion, they say, the Ukrainians say, was created by their HIMARS, which is their system. That's the explosion. Nobody's seen one quite this big before. There's lots of it on social media. Most commentary is that it's probably Grad rockets as well as artillery ammunition. So a huge amount, because it was a very big concentration of ammunition. Everyone knew where it was. The Russians made no attempt to disperse it. It was all there to be hit. And the hitting was done by this mobile multiple launch rocket system called the HIMARS, the High Mobility Rocket Artillery. There it is. The thing about the HIMARS, it's not the heaviest system at all. It's quite light. It's a wheeled vehicle, so it has to stay on the roads, but that means it's quick, it's fast. The cassette carries 6 missiles, and that cassette can be switched in about 3 minutes. It's a 3-man team on the vehicle, so these vehicles can shoot and scoot. They can fire off the 6 rockets, each one is very accurate, and then they can be away, and the Russians just can't find them.
Yeah, this is actually the kit we've been talking about over the last few months that they really desperately wanted, aren't we? So what are the Russians now doing to deal with these hit-and-run tactics? Or can they counter them?
They're looking for them. The Ukrainians only seem to have about 8, which is a ridiculously small number. Maybe 4 more are on the way, but it's a handful. But at the moment, they're able to shoot and scoot and keep out of the way because the Russians have not got control of what's happening in the air. They don't actually know what the ground situation is. And this morning, American intelligence reported that the Russians are getting a series of, they said, hundreds of drones from Iran. So the Iranians are, the drones that the Iranians have given to the Houthi rebels in Yemen, they're now going to give to Russia. President Putin announced today, or the Kremlin announced this morning, that Putin was going to Iran next week. So it looks as if the Russians are trying to invest in a lot more drones because they just don't have an image of what's happening on the ground. Unless they can get that image, unless they can get good intelligence, they can't find this small handful of HIMARS that are doing them such damage. And until they do, the fact is every night belongs to the HIMARS.
Oh, fascinating insights for what's going on. Thank you, Professor Michael Clarke.